Hey class, it's Christy again, and welcome to week 2. Proud of you for making it through week 1. I know it was a busy week. You had a couple of forums to do and a design assignment. And this week, in week 2, we're going to continue to work on design. So all the things you learned in week 1, you're going to be able to apply in week 2 as well. I know it can be a bit intimidating having so much work thrown at you quickly, so keep up with your readings. Make sure to reach out to me in the online office if you have questions. I'll be happy to help whenever you need. I want to take you through this week's assignments and help you understand them a little bit better and explain some of the concepts behind them. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen and showing you the class. All right, I have this week turned off, so I'm going to turn it on briefly, and all you go-getters are probably going to want to see what's in there. First thing is I have a quick poll I'd like you to answer. It's just how are things going? Just very quick, one question, and you will be able to see the answers of all of your classmates. And then you will also have, oops, I went too far, another discussion forum. This week's discussion forum, we are going to talk about design. What makes good design? What turns you off and on when you look at a designed document? How can you tell the difference between an amateur and a professional document? So this will be a fun forum. And when you respond to a classmate, I want you to find an idea about design that you read about that person did not discuss, and I want you to explain that idea to him or her. So have fun with each other in this forum this week. And your first assignment for week 2 is that you're going to write and design an instruction manual. It's just a one-page manual and it's very simple, so don't get stressed. So I'm going to open the instruction manual assignment. So you have a choice. You can do one of two manuals. You can either write a one-page quick manual on how to reupholster a padded seat cushion in a wood chair, or you can write a manual on a guide to some advanced search feature in Google. So whichever one appeals to you. So the main thing to remember is that you have to write, this is a step-based manual, so there has to be numbered steps that are simple, easy to follow. You need to provide graphic material that makes the steps clear and makes the instruction manual page visually interesting. And you need to make sure that your design follows the principles that you learned last week. For both manuals, you will have a choice of an audience. I'm trying to teach you how to design for a particular audience. So for the padded chair audience, you can either choose young women ages 25 to 35 or middle-aged men ages 35 to 45. Now, you can't tell me who your audience is. I should be able to tell who your audience is when that page is popped up on my screen. I should immediately be able to tell which audience you designed for. And for the, and here's a YouTube video on how to reupholster a chair. It's a very simple process, shouldn't take you more than 10 steps. And then for the advanced search features in Google, you have two audiences, either a college students ages 18 to 25 or mature adults ages 55 to 65. So pick your audience, whichever one appeals to you, and make sure that your design choices match the needs for that audience. And one thing I want to tell you about design and how important it is, and why it's so important, why I'm really focusing on it these first 2 weeks, is that what I know about people who consume technical type documents is that they are raters for information. They want to be able to jump into a document, get the information they want quickly, and jump out. They do not read these documents like novels. They skim and they scan them. So when you design a document properly, it really helps make that document more usable for a reader. So using headers, using white space, using color, using lines, columns, pictures, all of these elements, of course, they make the document have great visual impact, but they also allow a user to navigate through the document a lot easier to find the information that they need. I know all of you have been faced with a document that was poorly designed and having to cull through that document to try to find the information you need. Is very frustrating. So any design element that you can use to help readers get the information they need, it's why the principles of design are so important, to help readers access documents and make them more usable for the reader. So I really wanted to emphasize that element of design and why these two assignments, these two design assignments that we have been doing, are so important. And you will be using these design principles for the rest of this class, and hopefully, and I know for sure, for the rest of your life. I have had more students come back and say to me, Christy, I use document design principles more than anything else. All of my documents look so much better than the guy sitting next to me, and I'm getting kudos and promotions because everything I do has such an impact on my audience, and that's the kind of stuff I love to hear. So then the next assignment is called the Feasibility Study Proposed Topic Memo Assignment. Now, you've probably read in the syllabus that a big portion of this class is a large research assignment called the feasibility study. And that is true. It is a large assignment. It's a big part of this class. This week, we are going to start picking our topics for that research assignment. You are going to come up with your own topics. Pick something that interests you, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with this assignment. And so this assignment is a memo that you're going to write to me, addressed to me, in which you are saying, hey, this is the topic that I want to work on for this assignment. And as you can see, I've given you several sample memos here, and I'll just click on one that you can look through to see. Here's a sample memo. It's very simple, straightforward. The purpose of the memo is to present the problem for the feasibility study. It's a one-page memo. I do not want these to be wordy, long. Technical writing is brief, to the point, concise writing. That's the kind of writing that I want to see. Here's another memo that has a little bit more design to it. And I love this as well. So just as creative as you want to be, you can get creative. But I do need to teach you memo writing, and there's a chapter in your book on memo writing. You make sure you read that before you write the memo so that you can construct your memo properly. Now, what do we need to know about the feasibility study? Well, here is how I break it down for you. Very simply, you are going to go out to a real live company, a company that you're familiar with, your parents' job, your job, a job you used to work at, a restaurant you're familiar with, your gym, your church, a volunteer organization you're a part of, or even something here on campus. You've got to find a company with a real business problem. You're going to identify that problem. Then you're going to research 3 solutions to that problem based on criteria that you have established. And then ultimately, through that process of researching those solutions, you'll ultimately come up with the most feasible solution, and you will recommend it in a report that's based on solid research. So that's what the feasibility study is in a nutshell. So there's other assignments besides the feasibility study itself. The actual feasibility study is not due until the last week of class. But You will also write a proposal, and you will also do a PowerPoint presentation. So there's going to be a couple more documents or assignments related to the feasibility study, not just the study itself. So let's look at, I have a document here called The Basics of the Feasibility Study. You really need to read this document. It defines what a feasibility study is. It talks about what I mean by a significant business problem and how to go about finding one. And then, most importantly, it shows your topic options. So some options that really work well for a feasibility study are finding a business that needs to be updated, has some software that needs to be updated. Any kind of software. For example, if your dad is a dentist, some dental appointment software that needs to be updated. Or at your church, if there's some sort of communication software that could be updated. Or if at your job there is some sort of scheduling software that could be updated. So there's lots of different software. Those are really good studies because it's real easy to find information on software. So to do that research really works well for this type of study, because you want to pick a topic where you can research these products and the research is not hard to find. So another thing that you could do is find a business that needs some piece of equipment updated. An example I use, it has a student who worked at Walgreens, and she worked in the photo department, and the photo machine needed to be replaced. And so she researched 3 different brands of photo machines. I've had students research anything from refrigerators to copy machines to computers to guitars. I mean, you name it, I've probably seen the study on it. I've been doing this for 15 years. Or you could find a business that is struggling with finding some sort of a vendor. For example, I had a student one semester whose church needed to hire a pest control company. So he researched 3 different pest control companies, and he recommended the most feasible one based on their cost, their reviews by customers, and those were some of his criteria that he chose to research. So those are all real easy kind of studies to do. You want to pick an easy study because you don't have a lot of time to do this research, so you don't want to have anything very complicated. You don't want to solve the world's hunger problems with this study. You want to have a very specific, focused topic. You can come up with your own idea. If you have a topic in mind, I'm happy to listen to and help you develop a topic that you think you would be interested in if it doesn't fall under one of these categories. So the feasibility study, one thing I want to explain, and I'm going to turn this week off so that you guys can't get in there. One thing I want to explain is the idea of criteria. So when you come up with the business that you want to study in your feasibility study, let's just say it's a church. So you decided your church needs to update its scheduling software for its volunteers. All right, so you found 3 different scheduling software programs that you want to research. You then have to come up with criteria that you're going to use to research these software programs. So, of course, cost. You have to compare them based on cost. So cost has to be a criteria. I do not allow you to have any free solutions. Even though free is always better, for the sake of this study, you can't have a free solution. There has to be a cost associated with every one of your solutions. So another criteria usually is either professional reviews or user reviews, because let's face it, who buys anything anymore without reading reviews? So generally that is going to be a criteria that you're going to use to base your decision off of. Of course, the functionality or the features of the program itself, that could definitely be a criteria to just compare those. Maybe the updates or the warranty or the maintenance or the customer support that comes with that software, those could all be criteria. So you're really going to come up with a laundry list of criteria that you're going to use to compare these 3 solutions, for this case software, But for the sake of this memo that you're writing this week, I only ask that you come up with 3 criteria, just so that I get that you know what you're doing. I have an idea that you understand the concept of criteria. So, but in the final feasibility study, you're definitely going to have more than 3 criteria. Now, for the sake of this feasibility study, for this memo, you're going to have to identify the business that you want to use, the audience, or who is the owner or the manager, or whoever would pay for a study like this, or who would pay for the solutions that you want to implement. So the money person, you need to identify that person by name and title. Then you need to identify the actual problem. What problem do you want to solve? And then you have to identify your solutions. What are the 3 solutions? What are the product names? I want specific names. I do not want any vague solutions. So then you need to go ahead and have your solutions. Now, those can change if later on, but I need to know that you have some actual names and products to research. And then I need to know the criteria. So in this memo, you have about 5 things that you need to do: the name of the business, the name of the audience by name and title, the actual problem, the solutions, and the criteria. So those are all the things that you need to include in this memo. Now, you will upload this memo to Moodle by midnight on Saturday. I will give you feedback. Some of you will have to redo your memos because I won't approve your topic. Generally, about 25% to 30% people don't get approved. The reason I won't approve your topic is because I know from experience what sort of topics work well for this study and which ones don't. And I don't argue with you. I just tell you this is not going to work and you're going to have to find another topic, and I'll be happy to help you come up with one. If you get approved, you might get approved, and I might say, okay, I'm approving your topic, but one of your solutions isn't going to work. So you need to revise that solution. Or some of your criteria are not quite right. So you might have to revise your memo and get your criteria right. So be prepared that you might have to revise your memo. So, you might have to come up with a totally new topic or just kind of revise some of the details. That revised memo will be uploaded again to Moodle. I'll give you a new due date next week, and then we'll just continue to work. We'll use week 3 to continue to work, make sure everybody's topics are good and solid, and then in week 4, we'll actually start the feasibility study process. So I hope this video helped you understand a little bit better about what's going on this week. Like I said, please place any questions that you can't find elsewhere in my online office, and I'll be happy to help. Hope you have a great week. Thanks.